Got our notes from earlier. Audio check is good. Teleprompter is working. Here we go. Hey, property management friends. Welcome to This Week in Property Management. I'm your host, Jeremy Pound from Reece Register. And I got to tell you, it's quite the time to be in property management these days, isn't it? That's what I'm hearing when I talk to all of our clients. We've been going to events. We're heading into that time of year when everyone's making plans for next year. And I have to say that the optimism that I'm experiencing and hearing from our clients and our friends and from vendors in the industry about the product of property management is really high in the circles, at least that I'm running in. So I'd love for you guys to comment and let me know what you're seeing and how you're feeling about everything. There's a reason we go live, and that's because we want to hear from you. Now, people seem to really see the overall market growing, and they're excited about the new tools and specifically the tech that they have available to them, which brings me to a preview of our featured guest today. So today's episode is going to be focused in on talking about the core areas that you should be reviewing as you make your annual plans for 2024. We're right here in the middle of November, moving to December. I hope you guys are thinking about next year and you're being intentional about it. That's really what we want to talk about today. So you definitely want to stick around because my guest today is going to help you focus in on a few key areas and audit where your business is today before you start layering on all those new ideas that we get so excited about as entrepreneurs on top of that. So we're going to expose some problems. We want to make sure that we're focusing on the right thing. We want to make sure we have a great plan in 2024. Now, going to cover a couple things that we've been talking about. How about this landmark decision that went against NAR by the court in Missouri and the major brokerages that will surely change the way that buyer agents get paid on real estate transactions going forward? Now, most of us have some kind of transactional element to our business. And even if we don't, we're definitely still working with investors who hope to, or we hope will, acquire more properties. So let's think about how many investors are looking for trustworthy agents in areas that they don't have a personal boots on the ground team to decide where to invest and how to buy investment properties in that area. You know, it's something that I really relish about our business is all of the great people I know in so many great markets. I'm constantly talking to them about what's a good deal, where I should be investing. And I know that there are hundreds of thousands of other investors thinking the same thing. So could this seismic shift be an opportunity for you? Could you say, offer a flat fee paid service to represent out-of-town investors to find their next rental property that is outside of the traditional 3% buyer agent? I don't know. Maybe it's a good idea, but I hope you're thinking about things like that. Now, and also, and this may be because I had an amazing conversation with Ray from Property Meld yesterday as we work on an article for the next issue of Strategic PM with him. But everyone seems to be talking about maintenance in the industry these days. So I want to ask you, are you looking to maintenance as a headache that you just need to get done and outsource? Or are you looking at maintenance as a revenue source for your business? I'd love to know. Comment below or reach out to us because I want to bring you the content that you want to know more about in Strategic PM and on This Week in PM. And by the way, if you're not subscribed to our quarterly magazine, This Week in PM, then you're missing out. Just go to strategicpm.com, sign up for your copy, and when you log in, you can view all of the previous articles that we have online. Love to see you there, and you can always follow Strategic PM on social to see all of these great episodes live, comment, contribute, and watch them after they're out there. Okay, so we've got a lot to cover, so let's leave it at that. There's a lot going on, but next up, it's your favorite part of This Week in PM. Jen, welcome back, and show us the business development scoreboard.
Hey everyone, Jen with Rent Scale. I am really excited to be back at you again with another scoreboard update But before we dive into our really exciting data for October, wanted to share a couple of exciting things we've got going on in our community. So first is Sales Mastery. You've probably heard about this event unless you're living under a rock. And we are really, really excited to bring over 70 property management professionals focused in sales, ownership, and business development and marketing out for an entire day around All Bound. What's All Bound, you asked? Well, it's inbound, outbound, and next bound. Inbound, leads coming into you and how to handle those. Outbound, leads that you're going to look for and track down to fill your pipeline yourself and how to handle those. And next bound, who is your next referral partner or business source? We cannot wait for all of the gold we are bringing to you guys in this session. It's going to be packed with big takeaways and things that you could really run into 2024 with. So December 4th, if you haven't signed up, salesmastery.live, yes, .live. And please join us. We're excited for this event. Next thing we've got coming up on November 17th is our Skill Dev. So normally our skill developments are reserved for members of our community, but we would love to welcome you and invite you to attend this because we are going to be going over the 11 systems to sales mastery. Now, this has been a foundation here at RentScale for years, but every time we go over it, everybody's brain is spinning about where they can be better and where they're really good and don't need to focus their time. So this is going to be a really important skill dev. If you would like an invite to that event, it's completely free. Just send me an email, jennifer@rentscale.com, and I'd be happy to send you the link and an invitation for that. But it's going to be an exciting one. All right, guys, without any further ado, let me share my screen with you and we will talk through our scoreboard numbers for the month of October. So first of all, gosh, I can't believe it's already October. This is crazy. I don't know if you guys have watched the series of these scoreboard updates, but I've gone from being in tank tops and dresses to my sweater. It's snowing outside here in Colorado. So we're already into November and October passed and closed, but as you can see, this is really exciting. All green arrows, you guys. This is such positive news for us. We had a really exciting month in one BDM closed 95 doors. He is in North Carolina and he closed those 95 doors after persistent, consistent prospecting. This was actually several single family doors, but the bulk of it comprised of a build to rent community that this business development manager has been really seeking and chasing after for over a year now. So he finally closed that and it's already looking like he's moving on to that next build to rent community. And he's absolutely crushing those. So super excited for him and excited for his big win at the top of our leaderboard. Also at the top is Chicago, Illinois, one of our consistent leaders at 48 doors. Several single family, several multifamily kind of mixed in there, but that was an increase from what he saw in September. Then we've got a new one on the leaderboard out in Glendale or OC, California, 22 doors. That was an increase from what he saw as well. Austin, Texas at 20 and Denver, Colorado at 17. So we got some new leaders on there and I can tell you that most of the folks on that leaderboard are in our Scale Club Mastery, which is kind of our elevated club. Overall, we closed 393 doors in the month of October, which was almost to our forecasted goal. You will see here that we are at 97% to goal. So super exciting. We almost hit our goal for October and we are trending to hit in November. So excited to come to you with those results soon. You can see here that all members across our entire community average of 9 doors, which was up about 30% from September. And in the top 50% of our community, average number of doors closed was 15, up about 10%. Also really good news because we reported a decrease last month. 24 was the average number of leads that a BDM was getting. So if you're not getting 24 leads per month and you're not leveraging it to close a certain percentage of those, that sales mastery event is going to be super helpful for you guys. That's all I've got today. Thanks for listening, and I will turn it back to you, Jeremy.
That's pretty exciting, guys. I'm most excited about 97% of our clients are on track to their goal. So I talk about this all the time. Forecasting is different than goal setting. Goal setting is, hey, I'd like to do this. Forecasting is based on our marketing, based on our lead gen, based on what we've done before. This is what we're expecting, and this is what we're budgeting on. So I'm so excited to see that so many of our clients are on track for that and hitting that. And I'm also excited to see that records are being broken. I don't know if it's always going to be this way, but the last couple of months, every time we jump on, we're very happy to share some records that are being broken. And that is just more fodder and reason why I think everybody's so excited about the industry right now, because clearly we've been a sleeping giant. People are waiting for our services. And so I hope that you're out there making plans, which is where we're going to talk about next year. So I'm excited to bring on our guest who has been through this, both as a BDM himself, and then elevated to the point where he hired another BDM, growing his company in a very, very competitive market. And so I'm really excited to introduce you to the guest. But before I do that, I want to hear just a quick word from our sponsor.
Hi there. Did you know that RentScale hosts one of the largest communities of property management sales professionals in North America? Well, my name is Reece Register, and I'm actually a previous BDM and currently a scale coach here at RentScale. We provide over 20 hours monthly of teaching and training and accountability to make sure that our BDMs are supercharging their sales business through inbound, outbound, and allbound. So if you're interested in learning more about supercharging your business, go over to rentscale.com. We'll be glad to schedule a consult and see how we can help you transform your business today.
All right, I cannot help but call out the irony that we've got Reece, who's just in the commercial, as our guest. I promise our budget is not that small. He's just got that much to offer. So, Reece, thanks for joining us.
Man, that was a good-looking guy in that commercial, I have to say. Very good actor.
Sales are up by 15% since we put you in the commercial.
That's awesome. Good. I got a fresh haircut for that and everything.
I appreciate it, Reece. So just give us a quick intro. You're clearly a part of the RentScale team now, but you were not before. So just walk us through, who you are, where you've been, and how you found us.
Yeah, so up until 2018, a lot of my experience was from the retail background, and I got kind of tired of that same old thing, same cycle year over year. So in 2018, I thought I was going to be the next millionaire real estate agent. So I went out and got my license and realized probably traditional real estate wasn't the angle that I was looking to do long term. So I happened to meet a gentleman that had a property management company here in Tampa, Florida, which is where I'm based. No experience in real estate, no experience in property management, was hired on there. Then as a company, we engaged RentScale to design our blueprint process so that we could start systematizing our sales playbook and our sales process, which allowed us to continue to grow to the need where I elevated into a director of real estate services role, and we had the need to hire another BDM, which we engaged RentScale a second time. And we were able to elevate that company over the period of 5 years to be the highest ranked property management company in the entire state of Florida. So I've seen the good, bad, and ugly, and it's been an exciting journey. That company sold November of last year, and I gave Jeremy a call because I loved what they did so much, and I love teaching and training other property management companies, and it was just a great fit, and I've been here ever since.
Well, I'm glad that you did. We're enjoying having you here. So you are largely talking to people about planning for next year. This is where we're at, right? We're in the middle of November, in case you're watching this later. And we are in that point where we're essentially getting ready to talk about planning for next year. You've got some very specific feelings or advice or a framework about what people should be talking about. So walk us through what you think that people should be focused on as they plan for 2024.
Yeah, so right now we're early November. So if you haven't already started your 2024 planning, you're probably getting geared up to go into that. late November or into December. So there's a lot of key takeaways that I've learned over the years, both inside the property management business, but also a little bit outside the property management business. So I'm going to share my screen and just give you what I think you should really be focusing on as you're looking at planning what 2024 looks like. And there's 3 elements to that. And it looks simple, but it's largely impactful on what the outcomes are going to look like. The 3 components being the right people, having the right processes, and the right technology, but they all have to work together. And it's interesting when you're making those decisions, if you're not looking at all 3 of those components, there could be an opportunity where you're missing something. So that's kind of the simplistic way to look at it, but there's so much more behind it as you're looking at 2024.
Okay, so let's dive into that. I challenged you when you brought this up, which I think was great. What happens if we leave out 1 or 2 of these?
Yeah, so let's just take a couple examples here. Let's just say you have the right people and the right processes, but you don't have the right technology supporting the business. What that's ultimately going to lead you to is you're not going to be able to scale. Everything's going to be done slow. You're going to be writing down everything on paper napkins. It's just not going to allow you to grow at the speed that you're wanting to grow to hit those goals in 2024. So again, it's always important to hit all 3 elements as you're planning, as you're outlining your rocks or your OKRs or whatever language that you're using to move the business forward. Every decision and every movement forward should have all 3 of these elements. So again, if you don't have the technology, you're not going to be able to scale. Then if you look at the other side of this, let's just say you have the right technology and the right processes, but maybe you have the wrong people. Now you can't solve new problems that may come about. And that's a big part of it. I even have a couple of stories, if we've got time, Jeremy, to kind of share what this would look like.
Can't wait to hear. You kind of previewed me on this. So walk me through what happens when you don't have the right people.
So one example that came to mind is when I was in the director of real estate services role, we had jam up processes, we had awesome technology, and the people were there. But if we wouldn't have had the people, this is what would have happened. We had a new client we just brought on board, got them injected, got them onboarded to our system. The property was still vacant on the market. The owner lived near the property, and they had a break-in about 6:30 at night. Somebody tried to squat in the property. Now we have an owner hotline. They were to call that number. All the processes started kicking in. It would notify our 24/7 maintenance team. But I saw that come through, and here's where we insert the people component of it. I saw that come through. I got in touch with the owner, drove out there. It was a little after 7 at night to meet the owner there so that they could, I guess, get some reassurance that the property management company was going to be there to solve that problem. So we were able to go out to that property, settle the owner down. And not only do we get that one property, she brought her other property over to us as well so that we could manage 2 for her. Could have been a bad situation. If we'd only had 2 of those elements and she wouldn't have been able to get in touch with the people component, she could have had a bad taste in her mouth and we could have lost both of those doors.
This is a great share. Thank you very much. I think that when if you don't mind, share your screen again real fast, because the problem was if we don't have the right people, we can't solve new problems, right? Nuance is something that's always going to happen in property management. I think that one of the reasons that we know that other people are really struggling when they're trying to scale this at a national level, and they don't have boots on the ground, they don't have the right people that know local markets, they're assuming that the opposite of what's true about real estate, that every single property is exactly the same, every owner is exactly the same, every tenant is exactly the same. And right, Reece, we know that is not true. So do you mind just, and if you can stop sharing your screen and just share that, like tell us about the nuance and how important that is in property management.
Yeah, nuances. I mean, there are no 2 same situations. You can have the processes built around it to handle the standard, but like you said, Jeremy, every owner has their own different personality, own different expectations. Every tenant's a little bit different. Every vendor's a little bit different. So having the people component there allows you to navigate those situations and put a little brain power behind it, even putting a little bit of emotion and being empathetic with those situations versus it just being a strictly technology driven, step 1, 2, 3. And I think that's just an extremely undervalued component of what we do today.
Yeah. It's the reason we buy cars differently than real estate today, right? When you think about properties, like Hyundai Sonata is a Hyundai Sonata, right? You can compare apples to apples. You compare a 3-bedroom to a 2-bedroom in the same block, they're different. You compare owners, they're different, right? It's just, no matter how technologically advanced we get and how systematized we are, the product that we're dealing with just has so much nuance, right? And I think it's just really worth bringing up. Okay, so all right, so I love this example around right tech, right processes. We're going to go back to tech at the end. Let's talk about when we have the next one, which is, go ahead and advance. Yeah, right people, right tech. I think that, this is something that a lot of people are like, hey, I got a great team, I got great technology, but I don't really know if I have the right processes. What happens when that happens?
Yeah, if you've got all the right people in the right place, you've got some A players, you've got all the investments in the technology, but then if you don't have a process for the people to connect to the technology, you're going to have an inconsistent delivery of what you're trying to do. And that's a huge service gap. And you're not going to be able to scale doing that. And if you have one of those people that just suddenly takes another job, maybe has to move across the country, has a family situation, if you don't have processes in place, the whole ship's going to sink because you're so reliant on the people and they're not there anymore. Without the processes behind it, you're just going to have that inconsistent delivery of the service that you're looking to give to your clients and your residents. And it could be a breaking point for your business.
And my recollection is you've got a great story about this, something that you were doing at Renton Network, where there was a process that you guys put in place that seemed a little extraneous or, okay, but then it actually really saved your tail and it really helped you add value for your owners, right? I think this was involved pay stubs. Was that the story?
Yeah, it was quite interesting how this all come about. As a property management industry, one of our big selling components is to do some detailed background screening before we place a resident into the property. Well, we were doing that, but we also wanted to take that a few steps further. So instead of just the old background check, send in your pay stubs, make sure you make the money, and then we approve you, we were taking the pay stub and income documentation a couple of steps further already to include calling HR departments. So not just taking pay stubs, verifying the amount, and then getting them approved. We would call the HR department, get in touch with them, and verify all the numbers matched. And here in Tampa, we had this wave of people that were actually targeting our properties that were giving us fake pay stubs. So they looked real, they had a company name on there and everything. But what happened with our process, having the extra step in place, we were actually able to catch this entire group without ever placing one of those fake pay stub potential tenants into our properties because we were calling the HR departments and they were saying those aren't real, that person doesn't work for us. So we potentially saved our owners thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars and a lot of headaches just by having a well-documented process that all of our staff was executing on when it comes to approving applications.
It's a great story. So I think that we're seeing all these examples there. If you just go to conferences, you look on Facebook and you read all of the conversations, there are people that are very dogmatic and passionate about, I got to have the right processes, or I've got to have the right tech, I've got to have the right people. They're all important, right? I think that the point is to really help people understand they're all integral, they're puzzle pieces, as we talked about. So let's talk about technology, which may be an easy one because I feel like most people are just all about the tech right now. So what happens if we have the right people, the right processes, but not the right tech? Because I think we got a great example of this as well.
Yeah, you're just not going to be able to scale whatsoever. So, when it comes to technology, we don't want to solely rely 100% on that because we mentioned, you want to have that people component, the process to get the outcomes that your clients and residents are looking for. So having the technology also feeds your sales department as well. So we talk about like your CRM, like Lead Simple, going in there and letting the system do work for you in the background so that those deals can come back around. I can think of probably 10 examples of when I was in the sales role at Rent It Network here in Tampa, where the system was, the technology was running in the background, had an automated drip campaign that we have customized some messaging, put some videos with it. And a year or two after that lead had originally reached out to us, they came back around, said, hey, I know we talked a couple of years ago and we haven't spoken since then, but now I'm interested in doing business with you. So letting the technology work in the background was amazing. And then it allowed us to insert the people part of it and connect the process through sales so that we could ultimately win that client over. But having that technology in the background allowed us to keep pumping leads into the system and never losing track of them and letting them fall through the crack. So it was pretty impressive to see how that worked in the background.
Yeah, and I just want to share my own story on that, Reece, because we've got a great client in Houston, which I know you know, that we've done a ton of work with. And they just recently told us, I think we were with them like 3 or 4 years ago. We set all the technology up for them within Lead Simple. So talking about a pure, managing an inbound lead conversation, I was told that a very fast growing property management company, that their number 2 or 3, I can't remember, it wasn't number 1, but it was number 2 or 3 lead source. And I'm talking about you, Joni and Brett and Sean. Thank you guys for being a great fan of ours and following through on all of our processes. Their number 2 or 3 lead source, conversion source, when they looked in Lead Simple, was past deals. People that came in a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Sounds crazy. But when they ran the report and they said, hey, where did all of our customers come from last month? It wasn't SEO. It wasn't inbound. It wasn't other things. It was these people came from SEO, came from inbound, whatever it was, a year ago, 2 years ago. And now they're finally doing business with us. And I thought that was amazing to hear. Somebody raised their hand at a conference and I said, hey, our number 2 or 3 lead source in Lead Simple is actually from previous leads. And that is when we talk about all bound and we talk about building a list and we talk about persistence and technology. And he said, it's because we've got the technology to follow up with those people. We're having a conversation with those people week after week, month after month, for months or years until they're ready to buy from us. And it's so tempting, right, Reece, to just say, hey, the guys called, they're not ready to do business. I'm going to lose track of them. And I think that, we talk about that all the time. It's a terrible idea. Do you have a story, like just a quick story of like somebody that you've maybe done business with, like when you thought they were gone, they were not going to do business with you, and then you stuck with them and they came back?
Yeah. So I can, when you're a new BDM, and you get that phone call from a big owner, I remember 16-door owner that called me up. I'm all excited, thought I was the top dog. I was ready to close this deal. Guess what? They decided not to go with us initially. So disappointing, but we put everything inside of our technology, into our CRM, Lead Simple. It was able to do the follow-up process. And a year and a half later, I get a phone call from this gentleman and he said, hey, Reece, I remember us talking a while back. I don't know if you remember me. Of course, I remembered him. He was super excited. It was 16 doors. So I said, yeah, I remembered everything. And he said, well, I've been getting your emails and I'm really not satisfied with the property management company that I ultimately decided to go with. I went with them because they were a little bit less than what y'all were charging, but now I see why. And now we want to re-engage the conversation with you. And ultimately, we signed that gentleman up because of the systems working in the background through our technology. And I was just as happy a year and a half later to sign up 16 doors as I would have been when he originally reached out to me. But I didn't have to do anything manually between the time he said he's not going to go with us to the time he re-engaged, because we had the technology working for us in the background. And I was even on a call this morning with one of our newer clients that literally just starting their business off. And I was going through Lead Simple and just showing them how impactful every lead that's going in there today can actually change their business years from now if they just input everything correctly and have that follow-up process built in so that they don't have to worry about it, whether they have 10 leads or 10,000 leads.
Awesome. Reece, can you just bring up the diagram again and let's show them the 3 components? I'm sure they were a little dismissive of it the first time they saw it, but now they've heard the stories, and just kind of walk through why all three of these matter so much. And then let's talk about what to do when they plan for 2024. But I want to give you a good, and by the way, this is our social media moment. We might just cut this whole thing out, Reece. Talk through why these three areas are so important for growing next year.
So if you are looking to truly grow your business, you can't do it without these three elements. You can't do it without the people, you can't do it without the technology, and you can't do it without the processes. But more importantly, they all have to work together. If they work individually, you're never going to see the growth. You're never going to have the outcomes that you desire. So as you're making decisions, as you're planning out 2024 and laying out the groundwork of what you want to get accomplished, it is so important that every decision that's made revolves around these three together. If you're making a decision solely on technology, but not realizing how it might affect your processes or your people, or making the decision on people, but not really seeing how that's going to relate to the processes and the technology, you're ultimately not going to hit the goals that you want to achieve. So I cannot stress how important it is that all three of these elements work together for your 2024 plans.
All right. So here we are. We're planning for 2024, Reece. We want to give them actionable insight. What would you suggest they do?
So as you're planning for 2024, you should be doing what we call a SWOT analysis, which is, most have heard of this. If you've not, it's strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And on the surface, when people do this exercise, you do it for your entire company. What I would recommend is take it and break it down a little bit further. So take your people element and go around and look, what is my strengths as a company with my people? What are the weaknesses that I have with people? What are the opportunities and what are the threats? And do that same exercise for all three components before you combine into one SWOT analysis for the entire company. And you will be shocked at some of the things that you'll find inside of that. But when you're shocked, you actually have some actionable items that can help you improve and move your business forward. So I think this exercise is just truly important to do so that you can outline what exactly you want to get accomplished each quarter, ultimately getting you to your entire 2024 goal. So I know we've got a workbook we're going to share here in just a few minutes, but there's a document there that'll actually kind of walk you through how to go through that exercise and outline the strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities and threats for every single component there.
So I want to make sure I'm getting this clear. So we're suggesting before I sit down, maybe I got a leadership team of 2 people, 4 people. I'm going to ask them to do a SWOT analysis of, each of these people, processes, and tech. And that is going to help me have a more effective meeting when we get together, right?
Absolutely. And you should be making, when you get all three of those together and you start putting a general 2024 plan together, pulling from each of those and saying, oh, hey, I've seen our opportunity with people is we need to have better benefits. We need to make sure that if we have benefits, we don't have as many people that are leaving this role and we get more stability. We have more stability. Our clients get better outcomes versus the turnover. So evaluating each one of those inside of people and process and technology is just going to lead you to better decision-making for the company as a whole.
All right, so I'm going to put you on the spot because it's exciting because you're very passionate about this. So we did not talk about this one. I'm truly putting you on the spot. What's a common threat or opportunity that you think you want to plant the seed in our clients' heads? And it's just like, are we going to lose people because wage inflation is going up? Are we going to lose people because we don't have a good business model? Is there an opportunity to bring in the best people and just destroy our competition? Is there tech opportunities? Like, give us, I hate a blank slate. Give us a place to start, Reece.
I think the biggest component to just overall retention and outcomes for your clients and your residents and your vendors, everybody that you're working with, is the company culture. Everybody should be evaluating, what does your company culture look and feel like? So not only you're retaining top talent, but obviously everybody's plan, or for the most part, is going to be to grow. So as you're growing, you're going to want to bring in top talent. So culture is a huge part of that. And we always go to straight compensation, right? When we're trying to keep people and make sure that they're happy, but there's so much more that could be done inside of that. Having sales and ops having a simple meeting over a donut party or a Starbucks party, so simple. Haven't had any real cost to that. We're not adjusting anybody's wages, but we're building on culture. And when people buy into the culture, their output is going to be far greater than those that are just coming in, clocking in, doing their job, and clocking out. You want to make it fun, you want to make it exciting, and you want to make them proud to wear that name badge wherever they go, hand out that business card. So I think all the elements, if you have the right people, the rest are going to naturally feed each other. So don't overlook culture. Anything you can do to elevate that is a high payoff activity.
All right, so we're going to drop in a resource, right? What did we create for the team, and what do we want them to do?
So we're going to drop in a SWOT analysis for the 3 components. So there'll be one on there for the people component. There's going to be one on there for the process, and then one on there for the technology. I've even put some starter questions inside of that so it can get the conversation going. But you should sit down with your leadership team, go through those questions, each box, and just start writing out, what are our strengths with our people? What are our opportunities? What are our weaknesses? What are our threats? And then go to the process, and then go to the technology and talk about that openly. Have some bold conversations around that. If you do, you're going to be surprised at the things that you can actually get and take away from that as you're planning for 2024. That's really going to make a huge impact. But you've got to take the deep dive and segment those versus just looking at it as an umbrella over the entire business.
Thanks for explaining that. I want to make sure people knew exactly what to do. Last question, I'll let you go, Reece. What have you learned being part of RentScale culturally wise that you might suggest to somebody else to take advantage of as well?
Culturally wise, I would say, the biggest thing is I love having a number. So have people on your team that love to have a number and get to that number, and have team members that really encourage them. I mean, everybody on the RentScale team is like a cheerleader. We should all have pom-poms because everybody's cheering for each other because it's open to what we're trying to achieve. So as much as you can lay out there and show your entire team what the plans look like and get their buy-in, that is a huge component. That's what I love about RentScale, right? We're all trying to achieve the same goal. It's to grow property management companies. So as a cheerleader myself, I love seeing that across all of my clients when they have those big wins. So focus on the culture, have all of your team rallying around each other, and it will have those payoffs that you're looking for.
Okay, Reece. We got an echo all of a sudden. I think it's a great time to leave it there. Thanks, man. All right. Let me fix this real fast. It's a problem going live. Okay, we are back. Hopefully you guys can still see me and hear me. We definitely had a little issue there, technologically wise. It's like you can't see me. Okay. This is the fun part of being live. Can you guys hear me at least? Assume you can hear me, just can't see me. Looks like the board dropped, which is totally fine as long as you guys can hear me. So I hope you guys found that conversation helpful. And we'd love to hear what you are focused on in 2024. This is the time. We're all about being intentional and really making sure that we're creating the right plans. Apologize about the video tech, but I'm glad that we got through what really mattered. So I want to give you my closing thoughts and share some upcoming events. But first, just want to share these messages from our sponsor. This episode is brought to you by Strategic PM, the magazine for property management entrepreneurs and executives. If you go online to strategicpm.com today, you're going to find an entire website full of content written about your industry and by your peers. And it's completely free to sign up. Just go ahead and click on the create a free account right in the upper right-hand corner. When you click on that, not only can you create a digital account, but you can actually add your mailing address and we will send you a free 1-year subscription of the print magazine, which will be showing up in your offices every single quarter. So if you take a look inside the magazine, what you're gonna see is that we are focused on growth. We've got 5 pillars of strategic PM: vision, strategy, culture, marketing, and experience. You're gonna be seeing some great high-class content from some of the best thought leaders in the industry talking about the matters that matter the most to your business. So sign up for free today at strategicpm.com and look for the magazine in your office.